Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for coming. I hope everybody is not total. Maybe we'll pick up a few more before 8:15. Want to thank the World War I aviation guys from Dallas for coming over, and I understand you're from Oklahoma. And very kind of you to come over here. Are there any other members from that group that are here right now? Okay, so they may be coming later. Great article in the Star-Telegram. I think we can all thank Bud Kennedy for that, and let the Star-Telegram know it's good to get some local coverage. One of my buddies in the Plastic Modeling Club was Joe Titus, who was the editor of the editorial page, and he said one time they had a meeting down at the Star-Telegram, and someone stood up and said, "Could you do like the Dallas Morning News and have kind of a Fort Worth section to give some Fort Worth news?" So because they just don't really cover the city that much, but they did us proud the other day. And I think everybody's pretty familiar with the story of Vernon Castle and how he died. But I think it's really neat that there's a small crowd here 100 years later to mark it. I had told everybody at the RFC service that we had back in May that we were going to do this, and I email blasted everybody that I had on all the little slips from the last 3 years, at least the email addresses that were legible, which not all of them were. So I would say that we had probably close to 100 people that were invited to this. So I really appreciate you coming. And Jim Hodgson in his Marine Corps aviator uniform looking very, very good. Are those authentic wings from that period? That's
sort of.
Okay. They're as authentic as my dental branch deal on
reproduction.
Authentic reproduction. Outstanding. So, Walt, you brought a couple of little prayer things with you. Did you want to recite some of that stuff?
These are two poems from the war, both of which are fairly well known. The first one's called In Flanders Fields, written by a doctor who was a casualty of the war. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crossings of the road. They mark our place, and in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amidst the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If you break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. And this is an excerpt from a poem for the fallen. They shall not grow old, as are we that left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them. Is there anybody here who hasn't been? I know there's the World War I guy, League of Aviation Historians have not been here before, but we have some of our programs from the last couple of hundred, from the 100-year service and the 2015 service as well. And they have all the obits on all these guys in the back, and a lot of the information I can thank Walt Leonard for, because we have some of the children of the guys that were killed that are buried here listed, and their civilian occupations. A lot of them were motor mechanics, some were stenographers. I mean, it's just all over the place with occupations. And so if you haven't had one of those programs before, they're worth taking home. I see Mr. Woolman just showed up. Good to see you, Mr. Woolman. We're a little bit out, but if some of you want to come up and get a toast in hand, and I have some more OB Joyful here, if we can convert some of these other waters to that if you want. And Ms. Davis brought some different things. If you want to have a toast ready in hand, it might not be a bad idea to go ahead and get one at this time. Here's a dark one for you,
Thank you, sir.
Colonel. Major.
Which one? What are these right here?
There's TX whiskey and water.
Gee whiz, I turned right on you. I
Never
apologize.
tried it, but
It's a good drink. It's a very
it's a
good
good
drink.
morning starter, huh?
It is. That's TX whiskey,
Oh, okay.
blended here in Fort Worth, Texas. It is. It's a sweet. It's like a
Okay,
Canadian
well, you
blend.
know, I won't say no.
Okay. Okay. Let's convert a few more of these puppies.
Well, I finished a few.
And some of them turned into a morning.
We couldn't call them go back to bed.
You can't get up again. See, it'll be more than
Hi, Don. Good to see you, sir. Yeah.
You did know that this tree right here was dedicated as a historical tree. in
Yes.
Fort Worth.
Yes. Mr. Wright just pointed out. Mr. Wright, would you come up here and be near my microphone and tell them about the historical tree? Well, yeah, Don.
He's the one that did all the work to get
Yeah.
this done. So come on, Don.
Yeah,
This is
Don.
our tree. This is the Royal Flying Corps live oak. We just got it designated last November. It took us a couple of tries, but we convinced them that this tree, more than that one, was the place that everybody gathered around, and they used it for shade, and it was a marking point and a gathering point for this celebration, and it continued to participate in this function. So we convinced them of that, and so now it's been designated as a Fort Worth Heritage Tree. There's 70 that have been designated. You can go on the City of Fort Worth website and go to forestry, and then look at heritage trees, and you'll see a picture of the tree and a write-up about it, a short write-up. So it is on the city website, it's being recognized.
Or you can buy Wes's book.
You buy my book?
It's all
Incidentally, one guy who's not here, Bill Morris, corrected me in that because this cemetery had been purchased by the British Commonwealth in 1923, I thought these guys had been buried at little cemeteries on the fields and had been moved here in 1923. Well, Bill took the obvious step of digging up the death certificates, and so he was able to find out that all of them, in fact, were buried here during World War I. And there's some old pictures of this area, and it really wasn't very well maintained back in those years. It was pretty bitty. You've seen those pictures, I know. And so these burials are all, you know, that's when they were buried, was when the date of death is. So it is quite historic, and it does date from the wartime period. I will also point out that Baby Dorr is buried there. Baby Ruth Dorr, the child of Canadian Captain Charles Dorr, I believe was his name, and he was later killed in action on the Western Front. So, got a few more minutes. Anybody else have anything they would like to say? Anything they would like to add? Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
I'm JR.
JR, sorry.
And we're going to, a little group of us are planning a meeting at the Ben Brook Memorial around 10 a.m. If anyone would like to join us, we're just going to maybe play a few songs that the Castles would have danced to, and maybe walk over the 4 blocks to the crash site. So if anyone's interested in that, then probably go out to an informal lunch after that. So if you're all, anyone who would like to tag along with that, invited.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Where do you hold your meetings over in Dallas?
Usually at the Love Field Frontiers of Flight
Frontiers of Flight.
Museum.
Very good.
We're having one on March 31st.
Are they like on the last Monday of the month or something like that?
No
or
set schedule.
no set
Whenever
schedule.
we can get it together.
Okay, good.
You might mention what's going on in Canada and Europe. Right?
Oh yeah, Nancy Bruinsma, who runs the Deseranto Little Memorial. It's actually their family farm, and she's going to lower the flags at 8:15 Texas time this morning. So she'll be lowering the flags to half staff. And you know more about the Europe thing than I do. So
Well, I just know that we've been in contact with the Castle family, and they're delighted to know that somebody was going to be remembering Vernon this morning. And so that's about all that I know for sure.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Anybody else have anything to say? Well, okay. Yeah, got some more coming up. That's good. Welcome, welcome. Come on up.
You know Don?
Huh?
You know Don, right? Turner County.
Oh yeah. Hi, Don. Yeah, good to see you. Did you bring any of those Vernon Castle things?
No, I didn't. But I will. If anyone wants one, just I didn't have time to go back to work and come back.
She is the Tarrant County
Just
archivist.
take my card out and send you the PDF.
Okay. And she's prepared a Vernon Castle.
It's about 16 pages anyway.
Wow.
So it's flopping over.
Sounds like a worthy addition to any library. So, okay, we have some toasting material here.
I'll pretend.
Never toasted before.
We have plain water, yes.
Plain water.
Okay. Okay.
If you count Newfoundland,
So much as a breath as you pass by
it's 10 and a half.
Yeah, hard to park in that parking lot there, right? Hard enough
My
anyway.
grandmother was Canadian. From Newfoundland.
Well,
No.
for those of you that may be interested, Mr. Byer brought a beautiful 72nd scale model he's done of Vernon Castle's aircraft that was the aircraft that crashed, and is very, very lovely and a beautiful job.
I think this is.
Actually,
And,
Griff, I've looked at photos, crash photos,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty convinced that he didn't crash in that plane. I think it was a different plane from the squadron, had similar markings, but I don't. That plane had a little rook on the rudder.
Okay.
Personal castle marking.
Okay. You guys already brought yours with you. Okay. Very hot.
With everything.
Okay. Yeah, those are from the last service, but they've got real nice little obituaries on the guys and some good information. So, yeah, Don has really helped a lot as far as promoting this whole deal, and we sure do appreciate that. So, okay, it's 8:13. It takes about 20 seconds to say the Lord's Prayer, so we'll start that at about 8:14. How about that? So,
Military precision.
yeah, well, try to get it together with Canada and do the thing. So, yeah, I want to thank Jim. He did a great job of organizing the commemoration of the entrance into the U.S. into World War I that we held down at the Veterans Park, and it was interesting that there was no news coverage at all for that. And it was sad. And then I saw some guys with video cameras down at Curly's hot dog and ice cream stand, and I don't know whether they were commercial or public, but anyway. Well, all right. Would you like to join me in the Lord's Prayer? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. For thine is the kingdom and the power. Amen. Glory forever. I did just as bad as that Protestant chaplain at Carswell that came out here one time that lost his place on the Lord's Prayer. So, anyway, 8:14. Jim, you're a Marine officer. Can you think of a good toast you'd like to make?
Keep it clean.
None that we can do here.
Okay. It's 8:15. Here's to a brave man who visited Fort Worth, brought grace, charm, and beauty to the city, and is well remembered by its citizens. It's a Vernon Castle. anybody wants a refill, we've got some of it. Well, I don't know if this will last all day, but it's a start.
I think there's one more thing a little bit. Excuse me.
Please.
Detail, hut 10, hut, present, hut. Order, arms. Thank you, gentlemen.
Good idea. Good idea. Well said. Well, I will say we did have a flyover with my little beat-up steerman, but it was kind of, people had to duck. It's a little windy. You get it's about a 1/20th scale airplane, so a 20-mile-an-hour wind is like a 400-mile-an-hour hurricane. So a little hard to control them.
I say just a couple words.
Absolutely, you're very welcome to do so, Jer.
My wife was in a vintage ragtime band a few years ago. That's where I first got to become aware of Vernon and Irene Castle. They were superstars of their time. He had wealth. He was living in this country. But when the war started, he gave that all up to go back and serve his country, England. And just on the morning he died, he was actually avoiding an accident with another airplane. He would, as was his habit, he would ride in the front seat of the Jenny rather than the back seat because he felt that the back seat was safer, and he was concerned about his students. And the morning that he crashed, everyone survived except for him because he was in that front cockpit, and he sacrificed his own life basically so that others could survive. And that's just the kind of person he was, thinking of other people, loved people, and gave up a lot to serve, and always thinking of his students and upcoming pilots, and just appreciate him for the kind of person that he was. And it's good for him to be remembered because he is a hero for that. I don't think he was decorated at all for that action, but he did in fact save lives that morning.
Well said. Good point. Not everybody knows that, for sure. Councilman Singleton, you have anything to say?
Well, on behalf of the City of Fort Worth, thank you very much for taking the time out to remember history. And that's important that we pass this legacy on, not just for our betterment, but it's those progeny, it's those generations behind us that learn from this and appreciate, and we just don't do enough of that. Thank you for your leadership and all that you do for the city. I appreciate that very much, but we're going to continue to press this issue, continue to press the education of our young people to appreciate. They don't even learn about the wars in school anymore, so it's difficult to enhance their knowledge with a factual rendition as you have done here today. So thank you very much on behalf of the city and on behalf of this great cemetery that we are blessed with. Thank you.
I'd like to point out a project of Jim Hodgson's and the Air Museum that has really come to fruition in cooperation with the City of Fort Worth is the First Flight Park, which if you'll go down White Settlement and take a ride on Carroll Street, it's right after the right lane is blocked, so you watch out for Carroll Street. Take a right, and in about 3 blocks you look to your right and you'll see a 1-to-1 scale Blériot monoplane on a pylon, and that's entirely due to Jim Hodgson's energy, and it commemorates the flight of Roland Garros here in 1912, which was the first powered flight of an aircraft in Fort Worth, Texas, through the financial backing of Amon Carter. He brought 3 aviators down here, and that one of them had a Demoiselle, one of them had something else, and one of them had the Blériot. And Blériot was the only one that could get up on that day. but it's a beautiful replica, and it's amazing how tiny it is. It's 1-to-1 scale, but it looks so small you'd think, well, that's a half-scale model. No, it's not. It's the real deal. But it's a beautiful plane that's mounted on a pylon, and it turns with the wind, so it's like a giant weather vane. I just hope we don't get another one of those F3 tornadoes. It may bring it back.
Just a point of correction, it's not a model, it's a sculpture.
Okay. To me, it's a model. I'm a modeler, so to me, it's
we
a
had to
model.
go round and round about that. It's a sculpture, it's not a replica, it's not a model.
Very good.
I do have one thing, Bill.
Yes, please.
We'll be conducting the second of our World War I exhibits at the Fort Worth Central Library beginning on November 10th. Right after the Veterans Day Parade on the 10th, which is dedicated to the First World War this year, we will be opening the second exhibit, which will run from November through February. And this one, the first one was about the mobilization here, and the second one is called Remember Me, and it's about the people of Fort Worth and the veterans who served during that period of time. So.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming, and you don't have to leave. Just stick around and look over the graves, and anybody else have anything to say that they'd like to add? Thank you, Ben, for helping me get my stuff out of the car, and helping Walt getting the flags up and all that. Carol, just appreciate all the support that we get for the service. Wish we had a few more people here this morning, but at least we got here.
Thank you.
You bet.